It's time to wrap things up, and we're going to talk sports to do that. I want to start off by saying that with the National Football League season starting up, preseason starting August the 9th, Casual Mode is doing a fantasy football group. It is a private group, but we are going to give you the password to go there. The link will be in the show notes there. It is called the CMFL, Casual Mode Football League, of course. Password will be Casual Mode FL. Bring in your teams. I've already got mine in there, the Mizuno City Sailor Scouts, and Roberts has got his in there as well, the Thundercats. Our draft is going to be on August the 1st at 5 p.m. Central Time. So, stick that into your browser and do all the appropriate calculations for whatever time you're in. That is when the draft goes live. It's just the standard pick kind, not an auction type. It is free to play. What do you get if you win? Bragging rights, mostly. It's kind of like how we did the bracket challenge. Please join in. We've still got plenty of spots available. It's a 10-team league, so first 8 people from here on out get to join in and play with us. Okay, let's talk WWE. First off, of course, we're on the road to SummerSlam. And as I mentioned in the post-mortem to WWE Battleground, Undertaker is back, and his target is Brock Lesnar. The reason for this is, honestly, it could go either way as to whether you think this is a good reason or a bad reason. His reasoning is, I can understand Brock Lesnar breaking my streak because streaks are meant to be broken. But you just wouldn't shut up about it, would you? Had to send your advocate out there to keep on pushing the button. To keep saying, he was the one in 21-1 and all that, and you just couldn't shut up. You just had to keep gloating. Well, I'm back to knock you down a peg. By giving him a knee to the jubblies, but I already went on that rant. But then later, Paul Heyman comes out and cuts basically the promo that says, yeah, I have been bragging on Lesnar's behalf. Lesnar has been really hyped about it. You know why? Because it's an amazing fucking accomplishment. Why would he not? Gotta admit it, Paul's got a point. But I think the worst thing that looks to be projecting forward to SummerSlam is Seth Rollins later came out and cut a promo. And he was basically saying, they disrespected me. Undertaker disrespected me. Brock Lesnar disrespected me by getting in. And, of course, earlier in the night, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar had gotten into a brawl, and hilariously, not even the entire locker room and the security forces could hold them all back. But Rollins is like, they disrespected me by going after each other last night. I could have beaten Brock Lesnar. I mean, I'm still the champion now, and that's great, because I'm the best and all that, but then they disrespected me. And John Cena comes out. Still the United States champion. And he's like, you know what? I should thank you, Seth Rollins. Because thanks to you, this United States championship has been looking better and better. Because you are making the WWE World Heavyweight Championship look like a joke. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh God. They're going to feed Seth Rollins to John Cena, aren't they? One of two things is going to happen there. I mean, they're going to face at SummerSlam. At least that's what's rumored. But one of two things is going to happen. Either Seth Rollins is going to win, and then John Cena will lose his title and then go after Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which please God, no. Or John Cena is going to win and hold the United States and the World Heavyweight Championship at the same time. And probably drop the United States Championship because, well, he has the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, so why would he hold on to the US Championship? It's emblematic of my rant earlier on the Battleground post-mortem. It's bad enough that Seth Rollins looks like a piece of shit without them having to feed in to John Cena as well. But I'm not a part of WWE Creative because I actually have brain cells. Let's face it, some of the stuff I've said on this show that have been, I would say, egotistically somewhat better ideas, they would not take seriously, simply because I'm not Vince. Probably the weirdest news from this past weekend is, though, that, and this is a really, really odd situation. I mean, it is a serious situation. I do not mean to undermine it in any way. Hulk Hogan has been fired from the WWE. The reason for it being that there has been some tapes released of him unironically using the word that we commonly substitute around here with ninja, in reference to his daughter's sex life, which is a whole different level of creepy. But yeah, Hulk Hogan unironically, and not really apologetically, uses that word. So WWE, to avoid embarrassment, has terminated Hulk Hogan's Legends contract and pulled his profile and the Hall of Fame listing from WWE.com. Oh, and also Curtis Axel's little Axelmania gimmick that he's been doing, where he's basically been imitating Hulk Hogan. Yeah, that's dropped too, which is honestly probably the best thing to come out of this terrible situation. It is somewhat hypocritical from WWE, because Vince McMahon has once unironically used that word in a promo. And of course, had Booker T immediately show up after that to do, "Tell me I did not hear that." Because, of course, it is well known that Booker T once, in a promo against Hulk Hogan, accidentally used that word. To his credit, as soon as that happened, though, the look on his face was like, oh, shit. So, anything using that word is not, it's not a good situation. It is really hypocritical from WWE's perspective that they would get rid of Hulk Hogan for using that word. But at the same time, Crazy Grandpa Terry, being an idiot once again, and this time in one of the most supremely stupid ways, deservedly got him fired. Oh, and all reports are, Brooke Hogan wrote a poem in his defense. Because, of course, his daughter's as dumb as he is. I gotta get my mind off of this dumb stuff. So, here's something much, much better to talk about. I finally got to watch an episode of Lucha Underground. Not this past Wednesday's one, but the one before it. But I did read up on the TV Tropes pages, which I know, not the same thing. And honestly, I love Lucha Underground. It's really, really great. It's on the El Rey network in the United States, although Spanish commentary is also on UNIMAS. Matt Stryker and Vampiro do English commentary, and I forget who it is. Vampiro and someone else also do commentary in Espanol, because Vampiro, of course, is a veteran of Mexican promotions like Triple A. So he has a very good fluency in Spanish. So he even though he's not Spanish, he definitely can do Spanish commentary just as well. It's a very different kind of wrestling show, though. I mean, yes, it is centered around the action in the ring, but it being on the El Rey network, which is fathered by movie producer and creator Robert Rodriguez, it's very kind of action pulpy, grindhousey, kind of gritty. It's like a telenovela. You know, it's like if wrestling was a telenovela with fantasy supernatural elements to it. It's really, really interesting, and the authority figure on the show is a man named Dario Cueto, who they make a good point of repeatedly saying that he's of Spanish descent, not Mexican descent, because that means most of the Mexican wrestlers on the Lucha Underground roster don't really trust him. He is very much a sleazeball businessman. He's very cunning and conniving, and he's able to get what he wants even out of the most belligerent of faces just by manipulating them for the sake of honor and money he built this promotion, Lucha Underground, in a studio in Los Angeles that he calls the Temple because it's all devoted to ancient Aztec mythology and, the values of the Aztec warrior tribes. And it even includes some possibly supernatural elements based on Aztec mythology that Dario Cueto has his fingers into. Probably the best thing about it, though, aside from the fact that Lucha Libre is just a really fantastic art form to watch, and that there are some really great personalities, there's not very many females in the company. There's really only 3. There's a manager type, Katrina, who is the manager to a wrestler known as Mil Muertes, 1,000 Deaths, lovely name there, who seems to have this power over a group called the Disciples of Death. There is this one who is part of the Trios champion group called Ivelisse. And there is one called Sexy Star, who, appropriately to her name, is one chica más fina, shall we say. But she's not designed for sexiness. She just happens to be kind of this Amazonian beauty. She wears, of course, a luchador mask. And her main selling point is not, as you would expect, her attractiveness. It's the fact that it doesn't matter how big or strong you are, whether you're male or female, she gonna kick your ass. She gonna put you in an armbar, and she gonna make you tap out. And I love that. It's amazing that this is the most inclusive wrestling promotion right now. At least on the mainstream radar. Because, you have... And Ivelisse, as part of the Trios Champions, is going against men as well. In fact, she and her team are going up against the Disciples of Death at the season-ending event that is going to be on the El Rey Network called Ultima Lucha. And, yeah, she's going to be wrestling against men there. In fact, there's only been one match that was a quote-unquote designated chick fight between Ivelisse and Sexy Star early on in the promotion, and since then they have exclusively wrestled men. It's amazing. It's incredible. And it is very episodic, but it has this grand story arc over the season. Again, all centered around Dario Cueto. And it's also got, little sub-arcs. The most recent sub-arc is that Dario Cueto has apparently come across these 7 Aztec medallions. That supposedly, whomever holds all 7 of them will have this great power. Essentially, a kind of immortality is what it's being played as. And he's had matches to award out these 7 medallions. All 7 of them at this point have been awarded. In fact, the aforementioned Sexy Star is one of the holders of those medallions. All 7 people are going to compete at Ultima Lucha for this championship called the Gift of the Gods Championship. And this championship could have some kind of magical significance to it. We don't exactly know. It's kind of being alluded to, but we don't know for absolute certain quite yet. But it's going to be interesting to watch. Because, there's mystery, there's adventure, there's betrayal, and there's been a little bit of romance, apparently, according to the TV Tropes page. And it's all centered around the action in the ring. I highly recommend you watch Lucha Underground. I'm kind of the last on the bandwagon on this thing, so some of you who are listening to this probably have already watched Lucha Underground and have been wondering why I haven't. Well, now I have. And it's great. I love it. Alright, that's going to be the show for this week. As always, we'd like to encourage you to, on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, youtube.com/c/casualmodepodcast. Follow us on Twitter. I'm Shadowbird712. David is Zero Sage Harpuya. We also have an Instagram account, instagram.com/casualmodepodcast. And of course, you can find all of our stuff at casualmodepodcast.com with all the links to the social media links. And as always, we will be on the FNX network, fnx.network. So, until next time, thank you for joining us on this rather experimental episode of Casual Mode. I'm Jeremy. Until next time, later, y'all.